on the moon. Somebody is on the moon. In that instance, you are not saying the person has climbed up to the moon or something. No, but the moon is symbolic of happiness. So when we see somebody on the moon, we are referring to that sense of happiness that the person finds himself or herself in. Now, a symbol is something that stands for or suggests something else. That's what we have in literature. So it can uh, embody a character, it can embody a concept, it can embody a place, and so on. So I've said that the word stoops. It's not a literal stoop, but then it can have all meanings in the stoop. And we use it with the intention of attracting or drawing attention. So symbolisms are used to refer to things other than itself, and it enhances the literary essence or literary presence of the text we are reading. So it's an effective literary device that writers use, and then through it they are able to draw our attention to both physical things and non-physical things. So the symbol of a physical entity helps us to understand the intangible or the non-physical entity, the abstract entity. Right. Now, symbolism also evokes emotions. Symbolism also evokes emotions. So the example I mentioned, for example, if I say the eye of the sun, too hot. The eye of the sun too hot. It is very obvious that the sun, as we see up there, does not have an eye, but then the sun can be hot. So we can then compare the eye of somebody being too hot, too white, too red to that of the sun, and then concluding that if that's the case, then the sun may be angry or something or in a serious mood, right? So it helps us to draw in, concrete experiences into abstract concepts, draw in concrete experiences into abstract concepts, right? That's symbolism. And it's also demonstrate artistic use of language so that words would have a figurative meaning or have deeper meaning and so on. Right. So we will identify some few common symbolisms in the text. She stoops to conquer. She stood to conquer. So if I make reference to a number of symbolisms in the book and ask you to explain their relevance in the work, you should be able to do that. Or if I ask you to comment on the use of language in the book, then I expect you to be able to identify some of these symbolisms and then work on them. Right. So the first one we are looking at is found on page 66 into page 67. We have London jewel casket, right? London and then jewel casket. Now, don't forget that we have mentioned from our initial discussions that there was industrial revolution, there was agricultural revolution. So people had moved from the agricultural grouts into the cities to look for jobs. And by going to the cities, the city, London, for instance, represented education elite, the rich, the powerful, the affluent. And therefore, whoever found himself or herself in a city came out to the countryside showing a kind of attitude. So if we say that somebody is a Londoner, it is symbolic of all the attributes that they carry. It's symbolic of showing that I have been through, I'm powerful, I am those, I'm educated, and so on. Don't forget that these identified more with the middle class or the working class people. Right. So obviously we see Malo and Hassan coming to uh, the high castle and behaving as if the high castlers are poor, they are needy, they are uneducated, they have no status. So London in itself is symbolic of this social pride, symbolic of this social arrogance, symbolic of this social discrimination, the class system. The jewel casket, you and I know that one major thing between Dorothy Hardcastle, Constance, and Lumpkin has to do with the jewel. The jewel of Constance's mother, who got into the hands of Dorothy, who wanted her to marry Tony Lumpkin so that the jewel will stay in the family. This is symbolic of riches, symbolic of wealth, and the issue of greed on the part of Dorothy and then Tony Lumpkin is because of those jewel caskets. Right. Who is Tony Lumpkin? Who is Tony Lumpkin? Yeah, Tony Lumpkin can stand for or symbolize um, all the things that he demonstrates. That he is a scammer, that he is someone who wants to take advantage of every situation, that he is someone who, yeah, someone who wouldn't want to work, but want to benefit from everything. Right. So that will refer to uh, Tony Lumpkin. So when we mention Tony Lumpkin, we will discuss him as a character. But in his character, we can also talk of there's some specific thing that he stands for. So when we mention Tony Lumpkin, then obviously we are making a reference to his attributes, those symbolic attributes. Yeah. Just as we have, if somebody says that, yeah, the song is a Kojenchi song. You are my Romeo and I'll be your Juliet. You remember that song? Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
sir.
Prof.
Do you know that song?
Yes, Prof.
Good. So quickly, the moment we hear you are my Romeo, I'm your Juliet, then we are looking at some symbolisms. That Romeo is a symbol of what? A male love, a man who loves unconditionally, who loves deeply, and would even die for the woman. And then the Juliet also becomes the same thing on the part of the woman, right? So these are some other things. So we can refer to the names, the characters as yes, characters in themselves, but also representing something else other than the character they demonstrate. Of course, the attributes of these names, these characters, are those that we'll try to interpret in their character traits. Is there any other thing you find the book that you think can equal, can be discussed as a symbol or symbolism? You remember the tavern? Hello? Do you remember the tavern where the young guys went to drink? where Tony met Marlowe and then Hastings. Good. So the tavern could also symbolize the tavern, just like we'll meet in those of you reading prospection, we'll meet in Code of Nakedness. Um, uh, the title is what? What's the name of the place in Code of Nakedness? The poor tavern thing. Yeah, Lydia.
And please, it's kill me quick.
Good. Kill me quick. Kill me quick. And then quickly. Kill me quick. Whatever. Yeah. So that is the tavern, and it's a symbolic of one, a meeting place of fan lovers, a meeting place of fan lovers, symbolic of loose life, symbolic of social life, and all those things. Good, good. Is there any other thing you find in the book that you think we can discuss as symbolism? Anything? What about the hard castle, the castle itself? We said it is old. We said it is old. What does it stand for? Is it a modern kind of house or an old one representing old attitudes, symbolizing old culture? The fact that there is financial boom does not mean that the old virtues are thrown overboard. Right. And for me, Kate herself is a symbol. A symbol of what? Who can tell me what Kate symbolizes? Kate Hardcastle. What does she symbolize? Oh, anyone for a beautiful Christmas or New Year gift? Yeah, Mercy.
Say greed. She symbolizes greed.
Are you sure? Kate Hardcastle. Yeah, let's hear it. Seven.
Oh, thank
Oh,
you.
thank you.
His broadcasting
Broadcasting
signifies or
or
symbolizes
symbolizing. Daniel, please mute yourself. Mute yourself. Yeah, Stephen, let's hear you.
His castle signifies or symbolizes the freedom from social constraints.
I see. I see.
I see.
All right. Rita, let's hear you.
Mr. Doc and Prof. Kate Hardcastle probably describe her as a fashionable young lady and a determined person because she actually knew what she wants. And when it comes to fashion, she knows her stuff too.
All right. All right. Um, is it Daniel?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
What I want to say aligns with what the later speakers said. That is symbol of determination.
Rita, Pascal.
Hello, Prof. Please, I think she's a symbol of intelligence.
All right. So we could see all these, but I think the crucial symbolism of Hardcastle is in the title of the book, Stoops. That she is uh, a symbol of someone adopting an approach beneath her status in order to get what she wants to get. That she is a character that would do everything possible to achieve a good intention. Right. That is Kate Hardcastle. If you look at Dorothy Hardcastle, we are looking at a greedy person. That's her symbol. If you look at Hardcastle, Richard Hardcastle Square, we are looking at a perfect gentleman who will not rebuke, but will allow you to identify your errors yourself and so on. So the point is that most of the characters in the book are symbolic in a way. Symbolic also in the fact that we are not talking about them in person. Don't forget that we said that in drama, the characters are not. We are not looking at the character, but we see characters as impersonations of real entities somewhere. So the characters in the book are symbolic of these attributes in other human beings around the world. Right. So let's go to the concept of unities. Let me speak a bit about this one. When Aristotle was discussing elements of drama, he mentioned that drama should not go beyond a day. In fact, the drama Aristotle says that. Hello, are you with me?
Prof, yes, we are with you.
Hello. Hello, are you with me?
Yes,
Hello,
Prof.
Prof,
We
we
can
are
hear
with
Yes,
you.
you.
Prof, we are
Prof.
with you.
Yes, yes, Prof. Yes, Prof.
All right, let's go on. Yeah, so we're saying that Aristotle believes that drama is symbolic, and since it is about a life situation, if you take one person's life runs through a day, and he looks at the day as symbolic of a lifetime. So in the morning is the beginning of a life. The afternoon is where you are active and do the things you do. In the evening is the end of it, and maybe death will set in. And by that, the drama should not go beyond one day. The maximum should be 24 hours. In fact, from morning till evening. That is how we look at drama. And we don't also say because it's just about 24 hours or 12 hours or morning till evening, it can be done anyhow without any connection. He believes that drama should have a beautiful beginning that connects very well to the middle and connects very well to the end. So the unity it should be within the play itself. Again, he talks about the fact that if there's a beginning, a middle, and the end, and works within 24 hours, then he calls it a unity of time. Unity of time. Again, he doesn't also support the view that the drama should take place in so many places, as we see in the movies. You'll be watching a movie, and at a point it is in the kitchen, another point it is in the village square, another point is in church, another point they are traveling. No, 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 no. He contends that the unity of action. And action, he's saying that one play should not talk about more than one theme. One play should not talk about more than one theme. It should be about one and so a very small rural town, specifically in the Hardcastle's castle, their mansion. So the play took place at one place. So of course it meets Aristotle's expectation of a unity of place. Now, so unity of time, the play begins in the morning and ends in a day. It spans through just a day. So it's obvious that the play as a book that you read is not huge, it's not large, right? Because it must fit the unity of time. The action is also same because it talks about one specific thing. Though we have subplots, it talks about one specific thing. That specific thing is how a woman succeeded in getting a man of her dream. Doing all the things that she has to do with one intention of getting a man of her dream. That's all. So if we ask the question, how does Goldsmith's play, She Stood to Conquer, fit or responds to Aristotle's unities? That's unity of place, unity of time, unity of action. We will say that yes, indeed, it fits in very well. Do not forget that this is classical concept, or these are classical concepts. And modern plays may not follow this concept. Aristotle does not follow this concept. This concept of unity of time, unity of place, unity of action. No, Aristotle does not follow. Aristotle does not follow unity of time, does not follow unity of place. He doesn't. A modern playwright also do not follow that. Good. Any question up to this point, please? Any question?
Yes, Prof. Prof, my
Yes,
hand is
Prof.
up. I wanted to find I
you.
came yes, Prof. I came in late. I wanted to find out which of the book we are dealing with.
I don't think you need to ask this question. If you have read the books we are dealing with, you don't ask this question, please. You should know.
There's two to conquer.
All right, let's go on, please. Any question? All right, if there are no questions, then let's continue with the structure of the play. Structure of the play. Now, let me say that the play follows Shakespeare's 5-act structure. The play follows Shakespeare's 5-act structure. So, the first act is the introduction, where we are introduced to major characters. So, the first act behaves as the exposition, where major characters are introduced to us. Now, the second act is a development of the ideas planted in the first act. So the second act leads us upward to complications. Can you please mute yourself? The second act moves us on the ladder through complications. The third act draws our attention to the main plot and the subplot. Right? The third act draws our attention to the main plot and then the subplot. This means that the third act, the third act is moving us towards the climax. Moving us towards the climax. The fourth act is where the characters are almost achieving their objectives. Achieving their objectives. That is the falling action. Falling action. And then the fifth act resolves its objectives achieved. So it is a perfect triangular plot. A perfect triangular plot. The 5-act play follows also Shakespeare's perfect 5 triangular structure. Triangular structure. Good. Now the play consists of the main plot and subplot, as we have mentioned, where the subplot clearly intertwines with the main plot to develop the play. The subplots clearly work with the it works within the bigger idea of the main play. For example, the subplot is about the development class. Are you with me?
Prof, we are with you.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yeah. So I
Prof.
was saying that the play consists of a main plot and a subplot. And then the subplot, though it stands as into the broader scope of the play, the broader plot of the play. The subplot has to do with George's attempt to elope with Constance. Joyce's attempt to elope with Constance. That's the subplot. But then at the end of it, we'll realize that it fits in because why Malu came to the Hardcastles to talk about marriage. So if they are talking about marriage, and then the George and Constance also succeed in getting married, then it fits in very well. It fits in very well. So the subplot fits into the bigger plot. Now, if you have looked at the play carefully, you realize that it opens with a prologue. The play opens with a prologue, which is the introduction given by Mr. Woodward, holding a handkerchief to his eyes. Right now, the prologue that introduces the play, establishes the background of the play. Right? It establishes the background of the play. Then it also ends with epilogue, which is a description of events that happened in the play after, right? And then it is spoken in the character of Tony Lumpkin. So we have an epilogue, and a prologue. It opens with a prologue and ends with an epilogue. So beside the five acts, the play also makes use of the prologue and then the epilogue. If you are asked to discuss the structure of the play and how the structure of the play connect to develop the plot, please note that the prologue introduces major issues in the play. Then the play takes over, comes to a conclusion, and then the aftermath of the play, which is also an addition to the play, gets played out by Tony Lumpkin in the epilogue. So all the 7 parts of the play come together to make this play a meaningful play, well-structured play, and achieving the objective of the plot. That is realizing the plot of the play. Right. So I've looked at the structure, we have looked at the unities, and we have looked at issues of symbolisms. There are other things that we can look at when we look at diction, the other thing that we'll see in there. Right. So let's go on. If your hand is up, any problem?
No, it was earlier one. Sorry, Prof.
So please put it down. Good. Now, you and I agree that this play is a comedy. This play is a comedy, and we wanted to even label it as a satirical comedy, kind of. I remember I gave you people assignment on some types of comedies. Am I right?
Yes,
Hello?
Prof. Yes, Prof.
So you should have reminded me early so that we'll look at those things before I move into the spiritual things. Good. So when we look at this play as a comedy, then we want to look at those comic elements in Shisu to Conquer. What are some of them? Can somebody mention some comic elements in the play? Can anyone mention any comic element in the play? Yeah, Stephen?
Prof, please, one of them is when Mr. Hardcastle says Tony King tied his wig, and then he ended up showing his bowed head to a woman. It's kind of funny.
All right. So that's with language. All right. Any other? Any other? Yeah, Godwin?
Yeah, that is where the Malon came to the court to marry Kate, had Kate, in order not to, he find it difficult to look at the woman she wants to marry face. She cannot look at her face. So it's a comic over there.
I see. I see. Thank you, Godwin. Yeah, Susie? Please,
Certainly.
Godwin, put your hands down.
We also
Yeah,
see
Susie.
a comic element in the as a part of where Tony wanted to go out and Mrs. Hardcastle was preventing him. And later on, you see Tony carrying Mrs. Hardcastle, like exchanging words, and later on carrying.
Susie, come again.
I said, please, I said, we see that when Tony wanted to go out at the early part, Tony wanted to go out of the house and Mrs. Hardcastle was preventing him from going. So over there, we realized Tony didn't want to listen to the mother, then was trying to tell the mother, I am stronger, I can do what I want to do. Then one way or the other, encourage the mother that I can go over your word and do what I want. We see that sort of comic element there. When Tony carried the mother, that Mrs. Hardcastle.
All right. So carrying the mother, not just carrying, but then it's a symbolic of the fact that he can override the mother's instructions and do what he wants to do.
What he
right. That's a bit. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Yeah, that's a beautiful one. Any other?
Say, please, my toffee.
Your toffee. But you're not the one. You're not the only one who has spoken. Others have spoken.
Okay.
And when you grow, I'll get your toffee.
Okay.
A minute, please. Yeah, so these are beautiful instances in the book that support. Hello.
Hello, Prof.
So these are beautiful instances in the book that we can pick them out and discuss them as elements of comedy, in the play. But we can put them under specific headings as humor, right? Humor and then wit. Wit here refers to the ability to manipulate the mind, use words to manipulate the mind. For example, we have Lumpkin carrying the mother and then telling the mother that yes, I'll be able to carry you, meaning that I can put your words aside and then go. If you prevent me from going, I can even carry yourself to where I want to go. That is weight. Weight, we have that sense of humor. So the ability to create humor using words and ideas in inventive way, right, is common. To most of the characters in the book, including Mr. Hardcastle. Right. So put them one by one. For example, Mr. Hardcastle speaks of Tony reaching the age of discretion. And Mr. Hardcastle thought that he will never do that, right? Never do that, as in he will never tell Tony Lumpkin that he has reached the age of discretion. So when she says that she's afraid of his lungs, Hardcastle wittily observed that he's also afraid of Tony's lungs, that is, of his loud shouting. That's words. So Mrs. Hardcastle says, tell Tony Lumpkin that he's of age and therefore he should be discreet in his characters. Then Mr. Hardcastle says he will not do that. Then Mrs. Hardcastle says, you're afraid of your lungs, right? Lungs as in the body part lungs, either laughing or being teased and being angry and so on. Afraid of it, wanted to protect it. Then Mr. Hardcastle also retorts, comes in. What? Then I'm also afraid of Tony's lungs. Why? Because Tony, as a sports child, will just get up and shout over his head for the whole world to hear what is happening. And Mr. Hardcastle doesn't want to see that. Right. I think today the number is very low. We are around 50 something. We used to be 100 plus. I know post-fiction we're about 200 plus, but this one, drama, we're about 100, over 100. So what are the rest? Hello? Is the course rep here? Yeah, Frank.
Sir, please, the priority is today, most centers are all having the online class. So majority of our colleagues join their respective centers.
Oh, okay. So there are some who did not belong here.
Yeah, yes, please.
Oh, okay.
For example, myself, I have a class at West School, but I decided to follow yours rather.
Why?
Since I started yours from the beginning, so I decided just to continue it.
You are not fun. Anyway, let's do the job. That's okay. Yeah, Panda.
Sir, good morning, Prof. The other challenge is that the rest joined the other centers because they look at where they are lagging behind. If you are treating that place, they will join there. Because some of us, we are behind. So as we are here, we get jump to just join so that we read back. Maybe if there is an organized class that we can ask our questions that are worrying us. Thank you.
Behind us being
as in some aspects. For example, some of us we didn't start the beginning of the street to conquer. You can join this one. The other day, my network was not helping me, so I guess.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Susie.
Sir, please. Some of us were writing the exams, the aptitude test, the promotion exam, so we couldn't join most of the lectures. So we check where it suits. When we go to the online, we check where it suits and we join. I'm in UCC, but I'm joining you because I find yours. Yours is okay for me. Like my class is far ahead, and I'm finding this to help me. That's why.
I see. They can far ahead. Where have they reached?
I saw the theories of is it theories of drama? Yeah, that's what I saw this morning, and I saw that I've not gotten anywhere there. I won't get the concept.
I see. I see. Anyway, let them run.
They'll rush.
All right. So let's go on. Yeah, Panda.
Please, Doc. I can see that I can observe that it's not only me who is lagging behind, just like my sister Susie gets said. So, as far as this is an open forum, at least if you could permit us in a way, like that when we finish, we can come back and touch some of the areas that some of us couldn't join. It will help us. Thank you.
Can I go on? So in the discussion of comic elements, let's talk of situational irony. Don't forget, I did mention that there are so many ironic instances in the book. We talked about 3 types of irony. We talked about situational irony, verbal irony, and then dramatic irony. So in this book, we have situational irony. And that situational irony has to do with the letters, the writing of letters. And you and I know that at a point in time, the letters concerning Hastings and then Constance planning to run away, and they give the letter to Tony, and Tony, who couldn't read, how to eventually give the letter to her mother to read. Meanwhile, the mother, they didn't, Hardcastle and Hastings and then Constance didn't want the Mrs. Dorothy Hardcastle to know about it. But then eventually the letter gets back to her, and that is situational irony. The second situation irony has to do with the jewels. The jewels that was given to Tony, right? Mrs. Hardcastle gave it to Tony. Tony also gave it to Marlo. Gave it to Hastings, all right? And then Hastings gave it to Marlo to keep it for him. And Marlo also couldn't keep it, so he said, okay, Mr. Hardcastle, put this one safe for me. No, the thing came from Mrs. Hardcastle to Tony. In an attempt, it was stolen. In an attempt to help Hastings and Constance to run away and go and live their life beautifully. But it went round and then came back to Mrs. Hardcastle. So that's also situation irony and elements of humor in the book. Then we're talking of some characters also demonstrating humor. Some characters also demonstrating humor. And we're talking of their behaviors being incongruous, their behaviors being incongruous with the expectations. For example, if I look at Malu, who is coming to look for a woman to marry, and you, Malu, you are from a rich home, and you are coming to a rich home to look for a rich girl to marry. And then you, Malu, you cannot look at rich girls' faces. You can look at them in their eyes. Then when these girls are around you, then you are very shy and so on. How can you marry a rich girl if you are not bold yourself? And that is the character, the humor in the character, And I must say that quite a number of the characters in the book fall within this category. Quite a number of characters in the book fall within this category. That is the humor we see in the book are more than in their words. Then the character behaviors more than their words. The major thing is that when we talk of humor, we have three types of humor. We have the humor of incongruity. Incongruity, we are referring to the behavior being different from expected. Right? The behavior being different from expected. That's incongruity. So, for example, somebody's name is Peace from Volta region, right? But then this Peace is not a peaceful person. He's always fighting people here and there. So we say, are you sure your name is Peace? That is incongruity. And that is a beautiful example of humor. Then we also have another one which has to do with superiority. For example, in 2026 election, we had Baumia telling Muhammad that he's incompetent. And he said it over and over again. So that Muhammad himself had to weep at a point in time. He had to cry at a point in time that Baumia has called him incompetent. So we all expected that Baumia will come with beautiful ideas, superior ideas, very intellectual ideas. But when it came and the dollar ran to 17 cities, right? And today, the one who is incompetent comes back and the dollar is 10 cities, some few pesos. That's superiority theory, where one assumes superior, but comes back, that's nothing, and the one that is not superior shows superior intelligence. Yeah. In the book, we saw Marlowe misbehaving, thinking that Kate was indeed a bar attendant, right? But then at the end, we realized that Kate was a bar attendant when, even at the point where Marlowe was denying that he had not fallen in love with Kate, Kate comes once again to show superiority by letting the fathers hide behind the screen, and then something goes on between herself and the Marlowe, and then the parents agree that, oh, indeed, you're in love with this girl, but then you are just pretending, right? So in all this, when Marlowe came here and he thought that this is a simple barmaid servant who doesn't know anything, Kate demonstrated that, no, she has superior wit, superior intelligence to handle Marlowe, right? So that is an example of superiority humor in the book, right? Please, any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? Okay, then take notes. Don't be surprised if I ask you to accept my questions and you are to examine how irony contributes to the comic nature of the play. In this case, I'm looking at serious, specific, ironic instances. And I will expect you to make reference to the text and pull in instances of irony to really reflect the work, the discussions we've had. Good. So we are moving on to the next book, which is tragedy. But before that, we want to have a discussion on the tragedy and then look at the various authorities on the term tragedy. And then that's it in with Ebenezer. We don't do this on this platform, please. You mute yourself.
Please, bro, I want to ask a question.
So raise your hand.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, the icon to raise up my hand. Yeah, please, the 3 types of humor, I heard of only 2.
Accept yourself. Mute yourself. And raise your hand, we'll call you. Then raise your hand. So we identify. Yes, let's hear you. What's your question? Ebenezer, let's hear you. Ebenezer. All right. I thought you were talking about the ironies. I said we have situational irony, which we have identified in the work. We have verbal irony. With verbal irony, the words, the speech, the things that a character says are rather in contrast to what it means, right? For example, today in Ghana, if anybody says that, or if Bamia says that Mahama is incompetent, we will all understand that it's rather Bamia who is very incompetent. That is verbal irony. They'll talk of dramatic irony. Dramatic irony could be seen in the play as a time where Mr. Malu's father and then Richard Hardcastle hid behind the screen to see whether Malu, the boy Malu, was in love with Kate Hardcastle. Now you realize that at that point, Malu didn't know that they were hiding there. But then Kate knew, and then the 2 fathers also knew. That's dramatic irony. Dramatic irony is where something happens on the stage, and some characters are aware of it, others are not aware of it. So we have these 3 ironies in the book, and they all contribute to the humor in the book. Are you okay now, Ebenezer?
Yes, bro.
Hello. Okay.
Bro,
So
I'm okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Right. So we can continue with tragedy. Right. Now, when we talk of tragedy, we are saying that it is indeed a kind of a play that found itself mainly during the classical times. By classical times, I'm referring to Aristotle, Plato, Socrates, and the rest, their times, right? Now, that's a time where they felt that any work of art that does not concern itself with serious issues of life, then that work is not worthy of its consideration. It's not worthy of any consideration. Right. So, for example, any play that got composed has to be about kings and queens. And it has to do with things that reflect life and death. They are not supposed to talk about the low-class people like servants, slaves. It's not supposed to create laughter. It should create serious instances of thinking. Such plays are what we call tragedies. They're about life and death. Right. Now, so when the outsiders came up and were discussing drama, people were writing plays, and I don't know if I've said it. I think I've said it here. During the time of the Greeks, Athenian people, every year, every 4 years, they'll celebrate. No, they did every year. It's call it Olympics. Olympics. That's what we have now as Olympic Games that we all participate. Right. They will celebrate.
Abdul Bernard, please kindly mute yourself for us.
You see, they are tempting the man of God. You do this, you are tempting me. You want me to speak.
And we don't attempt man of God. Man of God have patience. We don't attempt man of God.
May the Lord forgive you all your sins. You.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. They will see no more.
All right. So during the Olympics, playwrights were invited and they were given themes to write plays on. So one major playwright that emerged during the time is called Sophocles. 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 Now, Sophocles participated, and I think he won 7 times continuous. His plays won. Now, the first play was Oedipus the King. In Greek, it's called Oedipus Rex. Rex is R-E-X. Oedipus Rex. Then the other one is Oedipus at Antioch. Oedipus at Antioch. And the third one is Antigone. The third one is Antigone. In fact, there are 7 of them. I will call them 7 great plays. 7 great plays. And these 7 great plays followed the life of a king. The life of a king. In Oedipus the King, we had a king who didn't know, but then married a boy who was supposed to be killed, but was not killed. Went to save somebody, and later came back to his own country to come and be made a king. And he had to marry the succeeding or surviving queen mother. who happened to be his own mother, married her and had 4 children with her. Then something happened, and they have to leave the place to another village. And over there too, something happened, and then the play continued and continued and continued until the 7th play in succession. That's what we're talking about. But we are talking about the fact that the play must be about kings and queens. Kings and queens. Now, these plays have been the subject of most theories, right? The subject of most theories. And the theories include tragedy, it includes electoral complex, or it includes Oedipus complex. What is Oedipus complex? What's Oedipus complex? What is electoral complex? Anyone to share an idea on it? Oedipus complex, electoral complex? Yeah, Stephen?
Prof, thank you. I think I've heard about Oedipus complex. I think it's when
Just come again. We couldn't hear you. Just we couldn't hear you. Come
a
again.
child develop. Hello, Prof.
Yeah, let's hear you.
Please, I said it's when a child develops feelings for a parent.
That is too open, too vague. Right. Thank you, but thank you for the effort. Yeah. No, you don't do that. If somebody gives a response and the response is not right, we don't laugh. That's not proper. Right. Now we have two of them. About Stephen put the two together. One, if a son develops too much affection for the mother, that is called Oedipus complex. So you can have a son who wouldn't want to see any man around his mother. So much in love with the mother that nobody should come around. Even the father son becomes a rival. That's Oedipus complex.
Hello.
Yeah, I
I
was
can hear a
saying that.
little.
Yeah, I was saying that Oedipus, in most cases, sons develop that affection for their mothers more than for their fathers. And it's a normal thing. It's very normal. And sometimes they see the fathers as rivals. Right. Don't forget this song by Nana Tufo, Abeku. You know that song Abeku by Nana Tufo? All right. Where the husband wanted to go near, and then Abeku was monitoring the mother so much that the father couldn't do the things that he wanted to do. That is called Oedipus complex. Oedipus complex. Then the opposite one is Electra. And Electra refers to a situation where a girl, a daughter, is so much in love with the father, the affection is so deep for the father that it sometimes sees the mother as a rival. And this is also very normal. This is also very normal. That initial stages of children's life, the girl child may be so much close to the father than she is to the mother. Right. If your hand is up, any problem, any challenge?
Yes, Prof. I wanted you to give out the spellings of the two words.
All right. Oedipus is Oedipus. 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 Then Electra is Electra. 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 Complex. Right. So the concept of classic tragedy finds itself explained in Aristotle's poetics. So as I always do, I will urge you to read Aristotle's poetics. And the drama course we are doing, a number of things are well defined in Aristotle's poetics. Please, if you really want to take this course very serious and be a good teacher at the SS level, and then to progress upwards, do read Aristotle's poetics. Poetics is Poetics. Poetics. Aristotle's poetics. Now, he defines tragedy. Aristotle defines tragedy as an imitation of an action that is serious, complete, and of a certain magnitude in language, embellished with each kind of artistic ornament. The several kind of being found in separate parts of the play in the form of action, that's performance, and not narrative, through pity and fear, effecting the proper purgation of these emotions. It appears too mouthful and cumbersome. Good. But then it's a simple thing that he puts forward. That's one, all literary works, all performances are imitation. So tragedy is also an imitation. Imitating a serious life, and written or presented in the language that reflects the seriousness of the situation. And the language is artistically woven, poetically woven. And that it is a performance, a play, not a narration. And this performance of play should bring out pity and fear in the audience. Pity and fear in the audience. Right. So that's how Aristotle explains or defines his tragedy. If you go online, you can just Google what is Aristotle's definition of tragedy, and you have it there. And if you read the poetics, you get the explanations well developed there for you. But let me attempt and say that the crucial things in Aristotle's definition of tragedy is that it should evoke fear and pity in the audience. Now, to him, a tragedy should not come a change in fortune, a change in one's fortune should not come out as a result of a normal mistake, a normal wrong somebody does, but it should come out as an unexpected challenge, right? A miscalculation, a misjudgment, something that can befall any other human being at any time. that is a tragedy to him. And Aristotle proposes 6 parts of a good tragedy. 1, plot. 2, character. 3, diction or language. 4, thoughts. 5, spectacle. And 6, songs or music. Don't forget, we mentioned at the initial stage, we mentioned chorus, we mentioned refrain. And I told you that when we come to tragedy, we'll talk about it. According to Aristotle, the most important element or part of tragedy is the plot, followed by the character, then followed by the language, and then thoughts will come. What we see, spectacle will come on the stage, and then the music or songs will be the last bit, the last part of tragedy. And therefore, he defines plot as the sequential arrangement of events with emphasis on causality. Aristotle defines plot as sequential arrangement of events with emphasis on causality. That is the cause and effect relationship. That's why we have been saying that if you define plot, arrangement of events, that is not the plot, that is a story. And that does not fit the definition of the plot. So this idea of plot having causality came from Aristotle. It came from Aristotle. Now, according to Aristotle, the plot is the soul and life of drama. And I would say that the plot is the soul and life of literary creation, be it drama, be it prose, be it poetry. The plot is a very important aspect of it. And that there can never be a play without a plot. Can never be a play without a plot. Right. So Aristotle goes on to talk about, describe the nature of plot in a tragedy. And let me say this, that Aristotle studied Oedipus Rex, and it's out of Oedipus Rex that he made a number of conclusions with regard to tragedy. 1, he said that a plot must have the event starting from the proper beginning. Event starting from the proper beginning to the middle and to the end. That is where we have the unity of time. The unity of time. So it must have a proper beginning, a proper middle, and a proper end. What it means is that the play, as we see, should have its beginning, middle, and the end. But then there could be events way before the play. There could be events way before the play. And those events can be our prologue. Those events can be our prologue. Or those events can be brought into the play as flashbacks. And there could be events related to the play, but way after the play. Those events can also be captured as epilogues, or can be brought into the play as foreshadows. Foreshadows. But Aristotle himself, in writing his tragedies, emphasized that there shouldn't be any flashback, there shouldn't be any foreshadows. So for him, the things that should be flashbacks must be the prologue. The things that could be the foreshadows must be the epilogues. That's what we insist on, prologues and then epilogues. But modern day writers would inject into it flashbacks and then foreshadows. The plot, according to Aristotle, The plot according to Aristotle must always have the three unities, as we have mentioned: unity of time, unity of place, and unity of action. So there shouldn't be a space for a play within a play. No. In that sense, you would agree with me that when we look at the play titled She's True to So that would be a departure from Aristotle's definition of the unities. That should be a departure from Aristotle's definition of the unities. Yeah, hello? Are you with me, class?
Yes, Prof.
All right. So the unities came from Aristotle. And then he emphasizes unity of action, that only one storyline must be the focus of the play. Must be the focus of the play. Right. The same way, the unity of place, that is the play should take place at one single setting. One single setting. So in this, then we will be talking about theater, where I said that in theater, the stage is the creator with designs. The stage decorated with designs, with artifacts and so on, to reflect the changing scenes. Aristotle is saying that no, don't do that. Let the play have just one setting. Just one setting. So if it opens at the castle, that's the only place that the play should be. Any other thing is not proper. So once again, there's a defiance. There's a defiance in She Stood to Conquer, where we are told that the boys moved from how do you call it, Hardcastle to the tavern where they drank. Is that right? But that is in the prologue. That's in the prologue. So that's the coming. Right. And then we talk about the unity of time. That's what we talk of following the 24-hour cycle, course of time. Course of time. You shouldn't go beyond 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, and so on. Yeah. So as I've mentioned to you, contemporary drama thrives on the abandonment of these unities. They do not hold on to these unities. They concentrate on different things. Right. Now, the second most important thing, let me add that most problem.
Prof, please, with the unities that you made mention of, I only heard the unity of time and the unity of place. If you could add the one to it for me, thank you.
You know, the problem I have with you is that any question, anytime somebody raises their hand, I didn't hear those. Instead of asking for a question that will call for deeper discussion, I didn't hear this. I didn't hear this. And can somebody tell him the third one? Yes, Thomas.
Unity of action.
Thank you. Unity of action. Thank you. Right. So can I go on, Moses?
Yes, Prof.
So let your hand go down then. Yeah, Daniel?
Yes, Prof. I wanted to find out the modern writers that depart from Aristotle's what they call pattern. I don't know, where do they get their inspiration from? Thank you.
Daniel, what do you think?
Prof, I don't know. I'm just wondering, sir.
All right. But you know that in the context of art, there's always innovations. So we can't be talking about art, and we are still getting stuck to one way of doing things all the time. No, we need to be innovative. Again, there's no way the life of a person can be confined to a day. In symbolic sense, fine, but then in the real life situation, it's not a day. And don't forget that drama is the reenactment of real life situation on the stage. So you try to compress it. We don't live all our lives in modern times at one place. In the olden times, maybe they could stay all their lives in a castle, in a palace, in a house. But today, no. For example, in my house, I have my bedroom. I have my study. That's where I am doing this. I have a hall. There's a kitchen. There's children's room. There are other rooms. There's a compound. So per what I want to do, I will move to where I ought to do it. So if these things are reflected in a play, then different places in the play must also come to play because we are reflecting real life situation. So they want to be realistic with their drama. That's why I say contemporary drama thrives on abandonment of the unities. I don't know if it makes sense.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Prof.
All right. So the second most important thing is character. Before I go to character, I want to mention that Aristotle has talked about plot. The plot is also categorized into two. And I think we have mentioned it. We've mentioned the complex plot and we also mentioned the simple plot. And we've said that the simple plot is that simple thing that you see the end from the beginning. The complex plot is where the issues are a bit complicated and you need to weave around some thoughts and get the conclusion at the end and you wonder what happened. Right. So the character is the most important aspect, second most important aspect of the tragedy according to Aristotle. And the character is the agent that acts out the action, So without a character, there can never be a play. So the character is the one that acts out the actions, activities in the play. And Aristotle believes that characters in tragedy must be unique and different from characters in comedy. So he calls the tragic hero. The tragic hero who may or may not be the protagonist must be a noble, might be a king, might be a queen, must be a lord, must be a prince, might be a princess or something. Right? So that when it is about a king and a tragedy before the king, it will have a serious repercussions for the society. That is his idea. That for tragedy to be a real tragedy, its effect must be very consequential on quite a number of people. For example, in this country, Ghana, we have had people die here and there. But there's one person whose death affected this nation for a whole 6 months. Whose death is that? Yeah, Godwin.
Prof. Evans, Jonathan Mills.
Thank you. The President of the Republic, when he passed on, the whole nation came to a standstill for 6 good months. The nation came to a standstill. So it's on this that I also feel that for the tragedy to have the real effect, then the protagonist or the tragic hero must be a very important person, like a king or a queen or something. Good. Now he also says that we are discussing the attributes of the character, the tragic character in Aristotelian tragedy. So it must be a hero. 2, he's also saying that that which will bring the downfall of the tragic character must not be a weakness, must not be a fault, must not be something bad, something terrible about this character. No. It might just be a miscalculation, a weakness, a flaw. He calls it a flaw, hamartia. Hamartia is H-A-R.
Hello, we can't hear you. Hello.
T-I. A flaw. I said, he says that what will lead to the change in a fortune from good to bad, from health to illness, from riches to poverty, and so on, from life to death, and so on, must not be something that is identified with the character. It must not be criminal, but it must be a mistake. It must be a miscalculation. It must be a flaw, right? And that flaw is called hamartia. Hamartia. That's H-A-M-A-R-T-I-A. Hamartia. Right. So it's a weakness that will lead to the catastrophic end. And the second to the tragic hero. The third one has to do with what you call reversal and recognition. Reversal and recognition. And he calls them technically as peripatia and anagnosis. Peripatia. Peripatia is P-E-R-P-E-T-E-I-A. That's reversal. P-E-R-P-E-T-E-I-A. That's reversal. Anagnosis. That is A-N-A-G-N-O-R-I-S-I-S. Again, A-N-A-G-N-O-R-I-S-I-S. Now, reversal and recognition are two important stages that a tragic hero goes through, right? What it means is that, yeah, that's what happens to you for you to fall. It's not something that you know. But then as the play continues, as the play goes on, you realize that I was at stage A, or I was at stage Z. And I've fallen from stage Z to stage A. That's reversal in fortune. Now I have seen why I fell from stage Z to stage A. That's the recognition, right? So at a point, the character should be able to identify the change in fortune, that he or she was in a very good state, but have moved from that good state to a terrible state, and must also be able to know why he or she has moved from that good state to the terrible state. That is the peripatia, and then agnosis or reversal, and then recognition. Now, don't forget that our definition of complex tragedy is situated in reversal and recognition. We said that for a tragedy to be a real tragedy, for it to be in a complex tragedy, complex plot, then there must be reversal and recognition, where the character goes back to a former state, a terrible state, and then realizes why he or she is in that state. Now, reversal from the word reverse occurs when there is a change in fortune of the tragic hero from good to bad, or bad to worse. Recognition from the word recognize is a discovery that produces the change from ignorance to knowledge. That the character becomes aware of his weakness and where it has landed him. Right. The third one, which is the most important thing, is the thought. Now, the third one has to do with language, diction. The third one has to do with language. That's the diction. Right? And then he said that the language must be poetic language. It must be embellished. It should not be the everyday language. It must be poetic language. Rich. You cannot announce the death of a king in a normal language. No, you don't do that. Or you cannot say something that is heartbreaking in the open normal language. No. You need to use euphemism. You need to use metaphors. You need to use proverbs. You need to use words that kind of hide the effect, concealment. That's a language that I also put forward as a defining feature of tragedy. Then the thought comes in. The thought comes in. The thought has to do with the real message you want to put across, which is in your mind. Don't forget that when we start engaging somebody in a conversation or whatever, we may go round before we come to what we have in the mind. You cannot just what you have in your mind. Though sometimes it's proper to go that way. But he's saying that, yes, we all have thoughts in our minds. But how do you package the thoughts? Then we have what is called a spectacle. The spectacle has to do with when you sit in an auditorium or in a theater to watch a performance. That performance, the things you see on the stage is a spectacle, right? The things you see on the stage is the spectacle, right? And then the final one has to do with the music or the chorus which comes in. I've told you that music is an important aspect of drama, and it includes the sound effects, the background music, and so on. Because at a point in time, the music will explain further what we want to say. The music would give us direction, what we want to say. The music in some places may even tone down the effect. Right. So the music does that. And in classical tragedy, the role of the chorus was very important for a number of reasons. One, they provided commentary on the play. Two, they sang odes to praise the tragic hero. And three, provided background information to the audience. Right. That's the importance of the chorus. I've said the chorus provided commentary on the play. The chorus sang odes in honor of the tragic heroes. And it provided background information to the audience. Leticia, can you tell to mute yourself?
Madam Leticia, kindly mute yourself. Madam Leticia, kindly mute yourself.
All right. Now the list. So per the arrangement, we have the chorus being the list, right? But then we also say that for the spectacles, we're talking of all the visuals of elements of the theater, the visual elements of the theater, right? They might be pleasing to watch. Now, also we didn't want to see bloodshed on the stage. No, you don't want to see bloodshed on the stage. So though tragedy is captured, he thinks that blood should not be seen on the stage, and that important things are better seen than shedding blood. Right. Let's go on quickly and talk about other types of tragedy. I don't want us to have in our mind that the only tragic element or the tragic theory we know is what you call Aristotelian tragedy. No, there are others. There are other types of tragedies that we want to know. And let me quickly mention that of Shakespeare, that was Shakespearean tragedy. Which emerged strongly with Shakespeare writing his tragedies. We have a number of tragic works by Shakespeare. Can you mention some of them? Tragedy. Can you mention some Shakespeare tragedies? Any idea? Shakespeare tragedies? Shakespeare tragedies? Pardon? Godwin? Yeah, Stephen.
Othello.
Kojo.
Julius Caesar.
Merchant of Venice.
Merchant of Venice, I doubt. Yeah, Godwin.
Yeah. Julius Caesar.
Right?
Yes.
And there's several of them. We have Antony and Cleopatra. We have Macbeth. Right? Several of them. Several of them. Yeah. So when he's producing a number of tragedies, then he has to come up with his own tragic theories, which are a bit slightly different from the Greek tragedies. One, Shakespeare tragedies share the titles with that of Sophocles. All his tragedies are what you call eponymous. That is stories that have the main characters as the title. Eponymous tragedies, right? So we talk of Julius Caesar, we talk of Macbeth, we talk of Othello, we talk of Antonio and Cleopatra. These are all major characters in the books who serve as the titles of the books. But then the Shakespearean tragedy differs from Aristotelian tragedies in a number of ways. The first one has to do with the unities. Shakespeare does not accept the unities of time and place. He does not accept the unity of time and place. He moves away from the unities of time and place. Number two, Shakespeare does not believe that the change in fortune of the major characters must come unaware. He places the weaknesses in the characters. To him, if a character is wicked, he is wicked. And that wickedness, that will bring his downfall. So he does not demonstrate what you call tragic flaw, no. But he demonstrates weaknesses in the characters. Though one other similarities that he shares with Aristotle is that almost all his tragic characters are kings, queens, nobles, those high-class people. Those high-class people. They are the tragic characters that he puts across. His tragic characters are not low-class people, they are upper-class people. Right. Now, he also moved from, as I've mentioned, change in places that he doesn't agree with. He doesn't agree with time and place and so on. He doesn't also, yeah, he doesn't agree with unity of place. He doesn't agree with unity of time and so on. But then he agrees with the fact that the tragic characters must be of high class, so that their effect will be very, very strong and very effectual in the work. Right. So these are a few differences between Aristotle and then Shakespeare. Right. Any question on this one? Now let's go quickly to look at tragedy, also defined by the man called Atamila. That's the second one, the man called Atamila. Now, Atamila, his definition of tragedy is indeed a criticism on Aristotle's concept of tragedy. For him, he dismisses the idea that for one to be a tragic hero, he must be of a noble birth, a high birth, a king or a queen or that kind of thing. And he said that no, a common person can be a tragic, anybody at all can be a tragic hero. And I seem to agree with Atamela, because today in our world, even animals can be tragic characters. Even plants can be tragic characters. Even nature can be tragic characters. We all know what the depletion of the ozone layer is doing to us. We all know what the destruction of our river bodies is doing to us. We all know what the destruction of our forests is doing to us. We all know what the fumes of cars passing here and there is doing to us. So these can also be elements of tragic character. So Atamela said that we cannot restrict, we cannot limit tragic characters to just kings and queens and so on. And that a common man can be at the center of tragedy. Now he says this also with the reason that today kings and queens are no longer very important. Kings and queens are no longer very important. Who would you listen to? The directives from the government or directives from your king? Right? Most of us will listen to directives from our government than directives from our king, because our king may not be so important to us. Some of us may not even know the kings or the chiefs of our villages. Some of us may even not know. Right? So Atamela contends that would no more have kings and queens who command respect, who command authority, and therefore we should use them as our tragic characters. He says that the consequences of a man's total compulsion to evaluate himself justly is enough. Any attempt for a man to prove that, yes, I'm a man and I want to do things right, and then he falls in the process, is enough to qualify the person as a tragic hero. For example, we have boys and girls who sell ice water along roads, who sell bread along roads, and so on. Now, these boys and girls who sell ice water and bread may be the breadwinners of their families. If accidentally the boy is running for his money from a car that's moving, and another car from somewhere unknowingly knocks this boy down, the boy dies. Isn't it tragic? Is it not that the family is going to be without food for the day, or they're going to be in a serious situation? And that's Atamela's view, that anybody at all can be a tragic hero. Again, he says that the flaw or the weakness must not necessarily be that which leads to change the fortune must not necessarily be a weakness, but it must be an unwillingness to remain passive in the face of what you conceive as the weakness. For example, sometimes one must steal to survive. Sometimes one must do something bad to survive. And we know mothers, some mothers who are with their husbands all right, but then because the husband's money is not enough to pay for the school fees of the child, this mother can have a boyfriend somewhere who will be supporting the family to take of the children. Right? This may not be so right, I think. But Tamila thinks that it's okay. This is okay because the person must justify himself to live. Must justify himself to live, which is a bit of a moral thing that we are not here to debate it. But his view is that we cannot limit this concept of tragedy to just our sort of, and they say that it is the high class people who should always be tragic characters and so on. Right. There's another tragic theory that we are going to apply in this book we are going to read. That is Dear Blood, and it is titled Hegel's Tragedy. Yeah, Hegel's Tragedy, and that's what we're going to apply in Dear Blood by Nyanka. Right. So let's give ourselves about 15 minutes break. It is 9:02. 15 minutes break, and I will come back to continue with Dear Blood. If you have any questions, when we come, you add those questions before we start the Dear Blood. Right. So we'll be back. Thank you.
Ebusiafo.
Yes.
And easy crowd.
Have you?
Hey, I have so many.
If you know, said drama and comedy nation or college, no same say you
Masa, I'm called baby. I share her right.
Masa, college then you
Hey, I didn't do.
Now, when I used to say in a sentence and 8 parts in so I know say I can.
Now, Friday, no crap with them. Who will be crap and finish your crown from Friday?
This course, some of us will all graduate together.
Part one.
Hey, up and down.
Block one was better. This one. No one.
Yo, up and down. What's your?
This one. No one.
Oh, you know, we pass. We pass.
Bushafon Pacho, yeah, Prof, our slice, Anna.
Or slice, so once a prof, ne course coordinator, into ne slice, na most course tutors no use.
And I will be, yeah, class B, yeah, for the money, why?
And in platforms, now.
Because maybe I could hear, must I know anything.
And maybe
last time, no, then this time, so I never did.
You not me say
Me say ya na madam club.
Then
Uja
we
for
make our
man
very
such as
good.
me mute me.
Aristotle no nkwasi asem mo ma twetwe no.
Na we ye dwane last time say the ebe hia no cry west. Last time there not discussions me so this time they me wushi o.
Shakespeare, Aristotle, Shakespeare. So, Orchestra. Now, what do you any other group?
abusuafo mpamkyerɛ sɛ prof slides no bi yɛ available a mofa to platform wei so ma yɛ n'agya yɛso nyɛ bi wa mesrɛ mo madaroma
Open first class 7 year course with that.
Yeah, welcome back. So we are starting with the play, Dear Blood. And I start quickly with the title, Dear Blood, which is also a shortened form of a proverb. A shortened form of a proverb. And the proverb is blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. That's the proverb. Because in this play, we will see a sister who is fighting with her life to protect the image, the dignity of her fallen brother. A sister who is fighting through thick and thin to protect the family name of a fallen brother. Now, this book is patterned on Sophocles' play, Antigone. This book is an adaptation of Sophocles' play, Antigone. In Antigone, we had a twin sister whose two brothers fought, and one got killed. Now, the issue is that once upon a time, their father was the king of Athens. The father died, and then the two brothers who were twins, the two brothers who were twins agreed that you rule for a while, and I also rule. But I got to a point, one ruled, and didn't want the other one to also pick up the responsibility. So it turned into the war. To say that they will honor the one who fought to defend the one who was sitting as the king. They will honor him, and the other one who raised the certain king will not be buried, and that his body will be left on the streets for birds and dogs to feed on. Then this sister is saying that no, if you do that, you are wrong. If somebody dies, it's not up to the living to punish the dead. It should be the gods who should punish the dead, not you, the living. So it went on and on and on. And the king said that anyone who attempts to bury this one who is seen as a betrayer, that person will also be killed. And then the sister said, I don't care, I'll do it. And that is what is adopted into this play, Dear Blood. Right. So it's an adaptation from Oedipus Rex. Antigone, sorry. It's an adaptation of Antigone. Now, this one is a bit different from Antigone because, one, Antigone, the main character there's name is Antigone, and that's the eponymous title of the book. But then in this one, we have a proverb, a shortened proverb as the title. So the playwright does not use the name Penny as the title, but it uses the Dear Blood, the shortened form of the play, to do that, to signify the importance of relationship. The importance of relationship. That's loyalty to a family. Loyalty to a family in the play. So the title in this way, once again, departs from Antigone because it foreshadows the event in the play, as we will see later in line of action. If we say Dear Blood, then we are going to see a play that will definitely justify and protect the unflinching loyalty one has for his or her family. And so the title becomes a foreshadow. The title becomes a foreshadow to reflect the view that blood is thicker than water. Blood is thicker than water. Once again, let me say that the names in the play are also symbolic. The names in the play are also symbolic. For example, we have Kenyi Kakra, right? That's the twins. Fine. But apart from that, the main other name we have in the play is what? Asem. Asem. Now, the Asem here has two directions. Either Asem impe nimpa no pe Asem, right? Referring to the king who is Asem, to instead of keeping quiet over the war between the two brothers, he decided to put himself in it, creating Asem for himself. Right, that could be the issue. Now, the plot of the play sets off from the aftermath of King Adinka, as I mentioned earlier, killing his father, marrying his mother. Now, this incestuous affair bringing in 4 children, that is Ansa and Owusu, and Penny and Kakra. Ansa and Owusu were twins, right? They are the male brothers or the male siblings of Kakra and Penny. Now, when their father Dinka was banished himself, after realizing that he had done what was wrong by marrying his own mother and having children with her, and San and Owusu came later. And then when the father died, they had to become the kings of the place. But then, as I told you, when became the king. Now, the remaining ones were the princesses, Penny and Kakra, who cannot rule due to the restrictions on gender. You know, in our system, patriarchal system, women don't rule. And because of that, their maternal uncle came in to rule. And who is the Asem? Now, Asem, who came in to rule, then decreed that because Ansan was the king of the village we are talking of, Emukra, and Owusu was in exile, but wanted to come and overthrow Ansan. Ansan fought to defend Emukra. Owusu came to fight Emukra. So if Ansan is dead, since he is their king, they have to give him the befitting burial. Owusu was in exile. He came as a fugitive to fight, and does not deserve any burial. Right. So it is in this context that Penny said that, no, you are wrong. If you will not bury Owusu, we will bury him because he's our brother. And then Asem said that if you attempt to bury Owusu, you too, you'll be thrown into a danger where you will die on your own. This is the background. Yeah, Barry Kusu, all right? Barry Kusu, let's hear you.
Thank you. Please, I think you've interchanged the names. It was Ansam that Assam said he shouldn't be buried.
Thank you for correcting me, sister. Thank you. Yeah. Esther, the same thing, right? Thank you.
Yes, please, Prof.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So the tension begins to mount as Penny employed the services of Kakra. Now, Penny wanted Kakra to come and support her to bury their brother. But the Penny refuses on 2 accounts. Penny refuses because she had fallen in love You know, when a woman is in love, any other thing can go to hell. So Kakra had fallen in love, so she decided not to support Penny. Number two, Kakra wanted to enjoy life. She didn't want to die because she was scared of her uncle, that the uncle might kill her. So Penny defied the king's directives, and then she buries Ansa. She buries Ansa, and this creates the conflict. Good. Now, this important action by Penny leads to multiple deaths, including herself. And you see, Penny was also going to get married to Asem's son, Jisa, right? So Penny dies, Jisa also dies, and Jisa's mother, Senam, who was the queen, also dies. Then Asam is left all alone. Asam is left all alone. Right. Now, I told you that this is an adaptation from Antigone. Adaptation from Antigone. So, what are the things in the play that are changed in the first play, the Antigone, that are changed to give a direct reflection to this one as African adaptation of Antigone? Right. So, adaptation simply means somebody else taking another person's play, effecting some changes, right, to reflect to let the new play reflect a certain taste or an author's direction. So there are differences between adaptation and translation. Translation is moving it from one language to another. But for adaptation, the work may share the same language, may share the same story, but then there could be some cultural changes to effect those. So one, if you look at adaptation, two things are there. We have transposition and then revisionism. Revisionism. It means to revise, not copy verbatim, but then there are modifications, right? So these two things are important to position and revisionism, right? And we see this in the book we are reading, that is Dear Blood. In Dear Blood, there is revisionism and there is what transposition. There's revisionism and then transposition, bringing out the differences. Meanwhile, there are some points of convergence. You know, there's some points of convergence. The point of convergence is that the two plays share some common features. They share some common features. There are also points of divergence. For the point of divergence, we can talk of differences in the title, Dear Blood, Antigone. You can talk of different characters, right? Assam to Creon, Penny to Antigone, Kakra to Tirasa, Kakra to what the name of Kakra's equivalent there? We'll know it, and so on. The plot structure will change. Then we have Afrocentric things. The language is African, the setting is African, names are African, and all those things. We'll talk about them as we go on. But then the common thing that we see among the two are one, the recurring thematic issues. The recurring thematic issues. Don't forget that in this play, we are talking of women empowerment. Women empowerment. The fact that Penny, as a woman, rises up and she says, I will do this. That's women empowerment. 2, the fact that there's a conflict between the states and conflict between state loyalty and family loyalty. The two plays have these. The two plays have these. Again, the major conflicts are the same. And the major conflicts are the conflict between state loyalty and then family loyalty. They're the same. They are the same. Right. Both plays engage with Aristotelian's concept of tragedy. Both plays, they attempt to engage Aristotelian tragedy, concept of tragedy. Here, let me say that they adopt some of them. For example, they use chorus. They use chorus. They are woven around royalty. Royalty. They are kings, they are princesses, they are royal people. Yes, those ones are there, right? But then we'll move into other concepts. Now, the other concept is the definition of tragedy, the Aesop, right? Tragedy, Aesop, where we have the weakness not just being a weakness, but being, in fact, for Antigone and Penny, we will not say it's a weakness, but it's about moral justifications. That's what there's a departure. Moral justifications. Because I am a sister. That is my brother. I can't see my brother go disgraced. I must protect him. Then the king says he fought against the land. That's also a moral thing. So we should see him as a villain, a traitor. So don't bury him. So moral justifications. So here we can identify real flaws. We can identify real weaknesses, not just a flaw. Not just a flaw. Right. Now, please, any question to this point? Any question? All right. If there are no questions, let's continue with the setting. The setting of the play. And I think the setting yeah, Apanda.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity. My question is on the points of divergence between Antigone and then Diabla. Or mentioned Afrocentric. Please, if you could explain for us.
Please, I've said that, haven't I? We'll get it. We'll get there. We'll get there. But I want to know the meaning, the name of the setting. The name of the setting. Yeah, let's hear you.
I would say it's in a Murakra, in a village.
All right, that's fine. Edu? Esther?
I was correcting the Emukra, rather.
It's what?
Emukra.
Emukra. What does it mean?
A place where we keep the dead.
All right. So Emukra can be mortuary. Emukra can be mortuary. It can be cemetery. Right. So the name is significant. One, it is a Ghanaian play, and then the name of the place, the name of the setting is Ghanaian, Emukra, right, where dead bodies are kept. And it's also indication that that town is going to see dead bodies and the stories about dead bodies. And obviously we see that. The two dead bodies, Owusu and Ansan, dead bodies, right? Then later in the play, we see Antigone we see Penny dead, we see Jirasa dead, we see Sanam dead, right? So dead bodies, and that's significant to us. So the setting reflects the culture as Ghanaians, reflect the culture as the name is Mukrasu Akan, and so on, right? So it's a fictional town, and it means exactly a morgue or the cemetery. Now we see this place, we see this. Godwin, any problem? Your hand is up.
It's the old one. Sorry.
All right. So the Mukra is announced to us when Apia meets Kwamina. Kwamina is the older person, and Apia is the lover of Kakra. Apia is the lover of Kakra. So they meet, they talk, and then Apia wants to know the name of the place, and Kwamina tells him this place is called Emukra, and then explanation is given to appear on it. Right. Now, the setting, which is Emukra, also indicates the religious thinking of the people of the place. Right? That Emukra believe in Chediampo, and they also pay respect to Asasiya. So the religion of the place is obviously woven around African traditional religion. The setting believes in that. There is also the representative of the gods, who is the priest. And in this play, the name or the title of the priest is Boko, who serves as the mediator between the spiritual world and the living. Frank, your hands up.
Sir, please, thank you for the opportunity. The name is Boko. It's a Voltairean name, Boko.
But I was going to ask you to tell me, what does it mean?
Oh, sir, it means a priest. As you rightly said, it means a priest, but it's called Boko.
Good. Now, there's something that Yanka does to this play. Yanka does not set this play, does not give this play one ethnic group character. Yanka does not give this play one ethnic group character. It gives a broader Ghanaian and others. So there's that broader picture given to this book. So thank you, Frank, for the Boko thing that you have indicated for us. So it fits into the African traditional religion, and it fits into our multiple African or Ghanaian. So one important belief of the African is that death is the beginning of another journey, and that the African concept of time is cyclical. Death, birth, reincarnation, and so on. So the African is born, grows into youthfulness, grows into adulthood, and then dies, and then moves on to come again. So the cyclical nature, and therefore we do not punish the dead unnecessarily. Now, in terms of time, we can definitely say that this play is set way before the modern time. I don't know whether I can do a pre-colonial or whatever. It's set in times far away. Times far away. That is the times we are talking about. Right. So in the play, Apia had no means of locating Kakra. There's no telephone, there's no Google map, nothing. But she direction from people that he came across. That's also an indication that yes, indeed, the play is not set in our modern time. Right. As you have said, Emukra Emukra, with the geographical setting of the play, has symbolic significance. Because it symbolizes dead bodies, a place where the bodies are kept, and as indicated, it reflects on the number of death or instances of death that we trace in the play. But we can even go back to the times of Edinkra, all right, Edinkra, meaning bidding farewell. The father of Kakra, Penny, Owusu, and Ansan, Edinkra. They have a bidding farewell. It could also refer to the symbols we know, the Edinkra symbols we know. So we have a lot of complications around the names in the play, right? All right. Now, I did mention that the play has some elements of Aristotelian tragedy. So let us quickly look at a few of them. We have looked at the setting, right? We have looked at the setting in time and in place. We have looked at the significance of the setting through the development of the play, right? And I've also drawn attention to the fact that the characters are multi-ethnic. In the sense that play, which is a reflection of the Ghanaian situation, where Ghana is not made up of one ethnic group. There are several ethnic groups in Ghana. So we have that one also seen. Right. Elements of Aristotelian tragedy in the play, in Dear Blood. The first one is tragic hero who possesses those attributes of being a royal, being a noble, being of royal blood, and so on. So we have Penny as being this royal character, Penny as being this tragic character, tragic hero. Yeah. Let me draw attention to the fact that in the normal Aristotelian tragedy, the tragic hero must be a male. And for that matter, in the case of blood, we are likely not to settle on Penny as a tragic hero because she does not fit into the Aristotelian concept of tragedy. That is also fault for a contemporary or modern discussion we should hold. Right. So if we think that Penny is a tragic hero in the book, the one that we sympathize with, then of course we are departing from Aristotelian tragedy into a modern contemporary tragedy. Right. Can I go on?
Please, Prof.
Yep. Right. So there's a tragic hero or heroine. We have it there who belongs to a royal community. Yes, but then all other characters are within the royal context. All other characters are within the royal context. So we're talking of Barakisu. Any problem?
Sir, please, I wanted to ask that since Penyin is from a royal home, is he not qualified to be the tragic hero?
Yeah,
And
she's
the
qualified, but she's
Aristotelian.
a woman. The problem is that she's a woman.
Okay.
Being a woman, that's the problem. But don't forget that one of the sub-themes to talk about is woman empowerment. Woman empowerment. So we can look at that one to discuss that issue of empowering the woman. And she succeeds, and we sympathize with her. And you come to terms with the chorus and their songs and so on. At the end, the point of fact that yes, she's done well as a woman. So there's woman empowerment in there. Yeah. Thank you so much for that one. So if we look at both of them, that's Asem and then Penny, they all possess some tragic flaws. They all possess some tragic flaws, right? Which leads to their destruction. And the tragic flaw is that they are all patriotic. They're all patriotic. Patriotic to either a family or patriotic to the state. Patriotic to either the family or patriotic to the state. That is the conflict there, right? So in the case of Penny, there's a forbidden barrier that she shouldn't do, but then she thinks that the family life is more important, the family image, the family character is more important than the state. Of course, she believes that the family comes before the state. So she wants to do justice to that. And that's an uncompromising determination. That's her weakness. That strong, uncompromising determination to carry out a forbidden barrier just to justify or certify her loyalty to her family. Then as some also uncompromising determination to carry out a decree just to certify state or his loyalty to the state. So in doing so, they are considered disloyal to the state. That's the Kakra, disloyal to the state, and then Assam paying disloyal to state, and Assam disloyal to the family, and so on. Good. So as indicated by Mela, Atamela, the tragic flaw may not always be a weakness, as was the case in Antigone. They only sought to obey the laws of nature, and their act was justified by the gods. Those of you who have read the book realize that at a point, Boko comes in to ask Asem why he did what he did, and whether he consulted anyone to do what he did. Right? And that is the weakness. That's the weakness. Right. Now, if we look at Prepatia as in reversal and recognition in this play, will be careful were consulted when Boko was consulted. Penny was found as a culprit and San sentenced her to die without, notwithstanding the fact that she was a son-in-law to be. Right. Now, when Penny died, the Jisa also died. The mother, the queen, also died. Then Hassan realized that, he had committed a lot of crime to himself, inflicted pain to himself more than any other. Right? And therefore, there's a recognition on the part of Asem, and there's a change in fortune on the part of Asem. So Asem now has no wife, and Asem now has no one to even succeed him when he dies. Right? So he goes back to a position of destitute. And that's what I'm talking about. So on this, if you want to discuss the issue of tragic hero and so on, we can pitch our strength on those and then define who is a tragic hero and who is the other one between Penny and then Ansa. Now we said recognition and all that. Yes, as I indicated. So Boko comes in to ask answer questions, which reveals that Sam didn't do the right thing because he did not consult people, and that Penny had actually done the honorable thing. Penny had rather done the honorable thing. Right. Any question up to this point? It's a beautiful, sweet, straightforward book. This is a beautiful, straightforward, sweet book. So I think we can read it easily and then understand the things we want to know in it. Right. Any question up to this point, please? Yeah? Apanga? Apanda?
Prof, is a panda strong man.
Yeah, I know,
Thank you
but
for the opportunity.
the short ones are panda. So let's go.
Okay. Please, I want to draw some kind of understanding from the whole thing when we talk of the reversal. So can we conclude that what goes around comes around has happened in this play?
Not really. Not really. Not really about what goes around comes around. If you talk of what goes around comes around, that's the deliberate. Mute yourself, please. That's a deliberate attempt to do something bad and then evil coming. But this one, a change in fortune means that you do something unknowingly, unmistakenly, and then repercussions come later. And you that you don't even know that for what you did, that's why this is coming. Until it dawns on you that, oh, you did A, B, C, D, and that's what has come. That's the recognition. Are you okay?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, Paul.
Thank you, Prof. Please, I want to know because from the book, we realize that Assem didn't do any consultation from the gods or anybody before taking his action. Neither did Penny also do any consultation from the gods or anybody before taking her action. So why were the gods in favor of Penny?
I don't know. But I think we have some more. Thing that so we should also go and kill that person. Frank, please mute yourself. Paul, mute yourself. How justified would it be that you have killed somebody has killed? Sorry, there was a disruption. Yeah. So the point you're making here is that, hell, are you with me? Hello.
So,
Yes,
Prof,
Prof.
please, we are with you.
All right. All right. Let's go on. Let's go on. So the point I was making is that I believe that the world in itself has a lot of moral lessons to learn. A lot of moral lessons to learn. How would we feel if a dead body is left in the streets to just go rotten? How would you feel when you see your dead relative's body being fed on by animals, vultures, dogs, feeding? No. That's not something you can behold. Again, you're looking at its hygienic and the scientific implications. The kind of disease that it was spread. So if one laughs, I mean, you can give somebody a real befitting barrier, a real honorable barrier, and the other one dispose of him quickly. Just get the body and throw it somewhere, right? But to say that nobody should touch it, and I mean, that's highly unthought of. So though the truth did not consult the gods, this moral sense or moral judgment comes to play. It comes to play. Yeah. All right. So let's continue. Let's continue. We are looking at the characters in the book. We go back and talk about the differences between Antigone and then Dear Blood. One, I mentioned that the titles are different. Whereas the title for Antigone is a eponymous title, this one, Dear Blood, is not a eponymous title. Dear Blood has to do with a proverb that reflects, in fact, the Dear Blood, the title is more of thematic title, the thematic title. Whereas the other one, the Antigone, is a character title, right? Again, I also mentioned that the setting is different. Whereas the other one has to do with Eurocentric setting, this one is Afrocentric setting. Afrocentric because the names, the place, and other things, the culture, everything is African. Everything is African, right? So we see it this way. The characters themselves are also purely African characters, not just by the names, but the behavior, by the conduct. It is African. We look at the language. Yeah, the language is in English. But don't forget that this is a kind of English that reflects the African taste, with African imagery, with African figures of speech, figurative language, and so on. Right. The plot structure is also a bit different from that of Antigone. The plot structure is also different from that of Antigone. Right. All right. So let's go on. And we are looking at the major characters in the play. The major characters in the play. And I guess you can quickly
Prof, please permit me to draw you back a little. Somebody asked that Pain didn't consult the gods and King Asem also didn't consult the gods. So why is it that the gods were backing Pain? I feel that it was common knowledge in the text that the dead person belongs to Asaseya. So somewhere Apia, when Kwame told Apia that the king has decreed that nobody should bury Ansam, Apia said that Busu isn't burial sanctioned by Asaseya, the earth goddess herself. So it means that it is common knowledge that if a person dies, he or she has to be buried. And so Asem refusing that means he's going contrary to natural laws. That is why I think the gods were in support of Pain's act.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thank you. I think I need to give you Alewa. So when you come around the University of Cape Coast, look for me and I'll give you your Alewa.
Okay, Prof.
Susie's Alewa too.
Okay. Why did you laugh? You don't like Alewa. What one do you want? You want Tom Tom?
No, Prof. I like Alewa, especially black and white.
Oh, I was going to, okay, black and white is fine. Yeah, I'll give you the black and white. Alewa. Thank you. Who's the Kalipo? All right. So you can mention the major characters yourselves. We have Penny, Kakra, Owusu, Ansan, Asam, and so on. Right? We can have with them. Though we can also talk of Senam, Jisa, etc. We can have quite a number of them. But then those who are crucial to this play, are Penny and then Asam. Penny and Asam. There's a relationship. Asam is the king of Emukra, and he's also the maternal uncle of Penny, Kakra, Usu, and Asam. Asam is the husband of Senam and the father of Jisa. And therefore, it is during his reign that Owusu led Emukra army and the Ansan led foreign army, which led to the death of both Owusu and Ansan. So Asam gives a heroic burial to Owusu, but decrees to punish whoever buries Ansan. Now, as I mentioned earlier, Asam simply means what? Trouble. So we have Asam in Penyimpa, in front of Asam, right? So it is obvious that at the end of the play, we have the God saying, you have gone for that which you should have gone for. And these are the troubles you get for. So Asam is informed that his whatever Penny had gone to bury her brother. So Asam invites her, and then the engagement starts. Penny does not deny. Penny affirmed that yes, she's done it, and that she does not regret doing it. So Asam goes ahead to punish Penny. Though others impressed upon him to rescind his decision, he wouldn't. He wanted to stand by it and then decree Penny guilty to death and so on. Right. The next person we'll look at is Penny, who is the tragic heroine and one of the major characters in the play. And she's a daughter to King Edinka, which makes her a princess. She's a sister to Kakra Owusu and Ansan. She is the niece of King Asam and betrothed to the son, Jisa. She demonstrates strong kinship ties to her family, and her loyalty is not even shaken by threats of death. She is a determined person, and her uncompromising stance leads to her tragic death. She is very religious as she believes in the spiritual world and the divine laws of the gods. Her stance set the conflict between her and Asam in motion. On the other hand, is Kakra, the twin sister Penny. Even though she shares the same family ties with Ansan, she objects to Penny's decision to defy the king's decree, and she seems to acknowledge the importance of state laws, unlike Penny. Now, if you look at Kakra, she does not resemble the loin, the groin that gave birth to her. She does not reflect that groin, the groin that gave birth to her. And she's interested in marrying and enjoying life. She's not that determined person. So she used to echo the theme of gender marginalization, whereas Penny echoes the theme gender empowerment, women empowerment. Kakra echoes the theme gender marginalization. And she reminds Penny of their role as women in the society. She reminds Penny of their role as women in the society. So initially, she rises as foil to Penny, but with the arrival of Apia, she becomes a bit active and they work out a plan to rescue Penny. So the women here who don't see the good in men, note this, that when there's a man in your life, you become a better human being. You do things right. So when Kakra was chasing love, and love came, love empowered her, and she started reasoning very well. So she started behaving well. Please, I'm just kidding. I'm not just kidding. I know some women who on their own reason far better than men. And some women in their marriages are the pushers of things and the men just follow. Yeah. So that's just by the way. Right. The next person we're looking at is Apia. So I will refer to Kakra and Apia as supporting characters. I refer to Kakra and Apia as supporting characters because they support Penny and then ask them to do things that they do. Yeah. So Apia is a beloved of Kakra. He arrives in Bukra just in time to witness the friction between the two sisters, Penny and Kakra. He says, as a constant reminder to the sisters that blood is thicker than in other things. And he convinces or manages to convince Kakra to help rescue Penny from the executioner. Right. Though they don't succeed, but I think we appreciate that effort. We appreciate that effort. Right. The next person of importance is Boko, who is the seer and the representative of the gods of Emukra. The name Boko it never means seer or priest. And his major role is to serve as an instrument of enlightenment. So he reveals to Assem the errors of his action. He reveals to Assem the errors of his action. So through Boko, Assem becomes aware. He comes to recognition that indeed he had been wrong in thinking that his action was right. Good. Let's look at a few minor characters and their roles in the book. And then we can look at Jisa as a minor character who is a son and heir to Assem. And he's also the fiancé of Penny, who had been condemned to death. Jisa is a relatively silent character as he only comes to the scene when he confronts Assem over the death sentence of Penny. So once his father refuses to rescind his decision, Jisa commits suicide after Penny found dead. Right. And his death a blow to Assem, as his heir apparent is dead, and this accounted for the death of Assem later. Right. Then we come to Kamina, who is an elder in Emukra. He is one of the first two characters we see as he appears a stranger seeking direction. Even though he appears less frequently, his conversation with Apia is relevant in giving a certain context to the play. That's the dialogic exposition. Dialogic exposition occurs when a dialogue conversation between characters leading to the revelation of some background information. Don't forget that those that gave impression that there's something terrible going on in this town. Even the name suggests. And he gave Apia the background information for him to also get the wives to be in place, and then they started working out things to save Pink. Yeah. So through Kamina, the audience get to know the Edinka family and what had happened between Ansan and Owusu. His role, just like the woman, imitates that of the chorus in Greek tragedy. So don't forget that he imitates or he links to the Greek tragedy. Senam is the wife of Asam and mother of Jisa. She is the queen mother or queen of Mukura. The authors heard about her, except that she commits suicide after the death of Jisa. Right. Any question up to this point? Any question up to this point? All right. If there are no questions, let's quickly look at the use of language in the play. Yeah, Frank?
Yeah, Prof, thank you. Yeah, my concern is on Jisa. Actually, the name of Jisa means assurance or hope, but per his role in the play, it didn't reflect his name. Is there any explanation that you can give me?
What do you think? You're
Prof,
first read the play, so what do you think?
Prof, please, I don't know.
I think it is right that his name is Hope, because any nation that does not have the youth to take it up after the passing of the elderly doesn't have hope. So Jisa is hope because yes, the town has lost Owusu, the town has lost Ansan, the town has lost Kakra and Penny. If the town also loses Asem, there's hope in Jisa, right? But here we are, Jisa is also gone. Don't forget that Asem killed himself, not because of all that he has done, but because Jisa is gone. He has no hope now. Are you okay now, Frank?
Yes, please, Prof.
Thank you. Panda?
Welcome.
Thank you, Prof, for the opportunity once again. Please, Prof, is there an instance where the tragic hero can be more than one in the play, and your justification will tell why you said a person is a tragic hero?
What do you think?
For my point of view, I can see that Asem in a way can be a tragic hero, Aristotle concept. And that of Atembila too, you can find Penny as one. Because Penny is seen as a common person. But at the end, he stands for something that is right to her. Thank you.
Anyway. Daniel?
Yes, Doc. Something that bothers my mind is Penny. Looking at her, and then the setting of the play being set in what they call prehistoric era, and the relationship and the way that she behaved throughout the whole play, her use of language and everything does not show some kind of respect from my perspective. The way she used language, both
I think you are not being fair to Penny, you are not being fair to time, you are not being fair to women. Because don't assume that in the olden days women were not strong. Don't assume that in the olden days women were not forthright. Women didn't know their rights. No, don't assume. Thomas.
Yes, Prof. Looking at the play, Penny calls Answer the uncle. And I'm wondering what kind of tradition permits Penny to be in love with the uncle's son.
Oh, where do you come from, Thomas?
From Upper East.
Don't you do what you call the uncle marriage, daughter marriage kind of? Don't forget that in the matrilineal system, the father's and uncle's son does not belong to a family. So if you want the family inheritance to stay, there's that in that marriage. It's an acceptable marriage. In fact, among almost all tribes in Africa, it's accepted. Even in your tribe, it's accepted.
I'm not aware of it. I'm a Fafra. I'm not aware of it.
You're Fafra. Then find out from your people.
Please, we Northerners, we don't do that. We don't marry maternal kind of relationship. If the person is related to your mother's side or your father's side, it's always difficult for you to marry from that, unless otherwise is a far extended kind of thing. Maybe your mother, auntie, this and that one you can marry, but immediately you cannot.
Please find out from your people. Find out, because I know it is done. It is a means of securing family properties, a means of securing family image, family dignity. Barakis, let's hear you.
Prof, please, someone mentioned that Penny is a common person, and I disagree because she's royal.
No, that person was not listening. So don't waste your energy on that person. Kofi.
Yes, Prof. I want to mention that not less we marry in the sense that, for instance, if my mother's direct brother, that is what I don't actually go for the daughter. But what they do is that when my mother grow old, and then he wants me to get a family member who will come and take care of her. So my mother will look from the brothers, any of them's daughter for me. So that when I marry that lady, the lady, my mother will take him as his own daughter. And for that matter, the lady will also feel that my mother is her auntie. And for that matter, she will take good care of her than any other person. So we marry uncles depending upon the situation.
Yeah,
especially
so in most cases, such marriages are arranged marriages.
Yes,
such marriages are arranged marriages, just as we saw in She Stripped to Conquer. Such marriages are arranged marriages. Yeah, but it happens, please. Right. So we're looking at the language used in this book, and I've told you that this is African context. The title is even a proverb kind of. So therefore, metaphors are strongly used in the book. And I make reference to the names. I make reference to even the names. The names are metaphorical. For example, we have Dinka, that man of Odum. Dinka, that man of Odum, right? That's a comparison that Dinka is a strong man, Odum. We have two tiger-limbed boys and a pair of female felons born on the same day. One a soft pairing domestic cat, and the other a stubborn panther, referring to Owusu and Ansa, and referring to Penny and then Kakra. Kakra is a kitten, all right? Kakra is kitten. So we have these expressions, a lot of them in the book, a lot of metaphors in the book, showing who Penny is, who Kakra is, who Assam is, and so on. Right. We also have elements of personification. Elements of personification, where we are told that wars are more than gossips, and sometimes even leaves talk. How can a leaf talk? Right. These are personifications where the walls are personified and leaves also personified. My dear axe hasn't said a word against you yet. You know the word axe, A-X-E, hasn't said a word against you, yet how can it say a word? What the axe does is that it cuts down trees. And even if it's cutting down, hold it. But in this context, the axe is giving attribute of human beings to make it a human attribute and so on. Please, we will not be able to identify all of them, but I want you to get closer to the book. Then you can identify these things, the use of language in the book, right? Can I quickly go to the themes and sub-themes and side matters in the book? And the first theme that comes to mind is could you hand up, sir, or the old one? The first thing that comes to mind is state laws against divine laws. State laws against divine laws. And that's a major thing we see in the book, one major theme we see in the book, and all other things crawling into it. So we have Dear Blood showing the conflict between state laws and then divine laws, where Assam protects state laws, and then Penny decides also to go for divine laws. So the issue of state law versus divine laws creating the central conflict in the play. And this creates dilemma for the characters, principal characters, and then ourselves, whether we should go for state laws or we should go for divine natural laws. Divine natural laws. This theme is mainly developed by the two characters, that's Assam and then Penny, who are strong advocates of each one of them. Assam for state laws because he's the king and he holds the authority to the laws and decrees of the Mukra, right? Where Penny thinks that she has no right in what Assam does, but then hers is to protect her family interest. So the conflict, however, arises when the decree made by Assam itself violate an already existing and more powerful laws of the gods. And this brings up the theme of the book running through from beginning to the end. Running through. There's a power of drunkenness as a recipe for destruction. There's a power of drunkenness as a recipe for destruction. Here we have an obvious demonstration of power in look at me. I didn't say it well, please. Power drunkenness as recipe for destruction. So we have Assam demonstrating absolute power because one is a man, two, he wears the crown, and then he is the king of the land. And therefore can do anything he deems fit. He can do anything he deems fit. So his first act as the new king is to demonstrate to his people of his what? Strength. His strength. Don't forget that Owusu was the king, right? But then when as Ansa rose on him and then got him killed, then Assam quickly took over as the next king, and that brought about all those issues. So he becomes a king and immediately issues a decree because he is the one in charge now. Power drunkenness. His denial is described as a sacrilege by Apia, since barrier is sanctioned by Asasiya, just as Barakisu, the scholar of Dear Blood, told us. Good. So Assam's refusal to listen to the counsel of Boko and Jisa concerning the death sentence imposed on Penny proves that section that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So Assam symbolizes an authoritarian leader who does not accept opposing opinions, and this led to his death and that of his family. I also mentioned the woman emancipation in the book. Women emancipation in the book, and that's one of the things that situates this book in the context of contemporary literature, right? Emphasizing this idea of feminism, right? So in Dear Blood, Penny is empowered. The Kaka is also given active role, where she can also take action to rescue her sister. So women are empowered this way. There's another instance of women empowerment or emancipation where 3 women, the gossips, finally gain their voices. It's also said clearly in the book. The second woman says, "We have found our voices too." So I would say that the play does not only talk about paying, but the playwright has the intention of giving women the opportunity to also find their voices, and be heard, right? So they say that we have found our voices too, and we intend to use them, right? So Penny serves then as a role model of these women, and that's women emancipation or empowerment in the book, right? Emancipation, empowerment in the book. So the theme of kinship ties in. The king of kinship ties is also important in the play, and is championed by Apia. Janka introduced Apia in the play to remind Kakra that blood is thicker than water, and that is the reason why Kakra, unlike X-Men in Antigone, is active and tries to rescue his sister. So if you're looking at differences, one other difference is that over here, close connection is built. Close meaning is built. Close emphasis is placed on the kinship ties more than we had in Antigone. And this leads us to family royalty and kinship ties. As I've mentioned, family royalty and kinship ties. And this can be seen from the play that Assem was loyal to state at the expense of family, whereas Penny and Kakra demonstrated strong kinship ties and then family loyalty. It is loyalty to her brother and the memory of her father that makes Penny persist in a quest to bury the brother, right? And Kakra also demonstrates family loyalty as she informs Assem that she helped Penny bury their brother, though that was not true. And she said this so that she can share in the punishment of her sister. And it's a clear instance of sisterhood solidarity. Right. Right. Let's look at the element of tragedy in the story. Is that okay? Yeah. So we can talk of the plot of Dear Blood, as I've discussed. Right. Now, the play begins with a tragic event of death, 2 brothers taking each other's life, as revealed in the dialogue between Kamina and Apia. And then the reaction of Apia after he is informed about the family of Kakra. He shows combination of pity and then surprise. Once Penny decides to bury her brother, the main conflict erupts between her and Assem. And with that conflict, there cannot be a good plot. So we have a serious conflict here, which creates the tension between Assem and then Kakra. So Assem and Penny, Assem and Penny. Good. And then this also leads on when Assem refuses to listen to the woman and Jisa. He refused to listen to women and Jisa and decides to carry on with his sentence. The tragic plot is characterized by catastrophe, which may come in the form of multiple deaths and so on. So the tragic element here is Assem refusing to be obedient to or to be receptive to advice and then falling into his own trap, killing Penny, killing Jisa, killing Senam, and then he killing himself as well. Right. Now, the second element of tragedy is the role of the characters in the play. We are told the characters' character imitation sets the play or the plot in action. So the characters, as you have seen, the tragic heroine, we agree. Penny is a princess and fiancé to the future king. The other characters also share nobility, with the exception of Kamina and then Apia. So as part of the characterization of the tragic hero or heroine, there must be a tragic flaw. And we have mentioned the tragic flaws of Asem and then Pain. For Asem, his too much love for the community, the state, is that which spells his destruction. For Penny, her determination to bury her brother because of too much love for the family, that also spells her destruction. So in both of them, they have weaknesses, tragic flaws that lead to their destruction. Good. Now, we will not look at if you look at the position of Pain, it's that strong dynamic position of Atamela, where she will not allow a weakness to come in. She knew that if she buries the brother, she will definitely be punished. She'll be punished. But then she goes ahead to bury the brother, and she suffers consequence as a result. She suffers consequence as a result. Right. So from our point of view, there is the tragic element there that fits into the Aristotelian concept of tragedy. Then we talk of verbal expression. Don't forget that Aristotle said that the language must be poetic. The language must be poetic. The language must reflect the pain. The language must reflect the tragedy, and so on. So in this book, we have verbal expressions or language used that are purely reflection of the tragedy we are reading. Right. We have looked at some metaphors. We have looked at some personifications. We have looked at some proverbs in the titles and so on. We can also identify euphemisms, for instance. Euphemisms, for instance, in talking about death. Right. So, for instance, Apia reports the death of Senam as your queen heard the news of her son's death and decided to join him. He didn't say the queen is also dead, but said what? Decided to join him. So the playwright combines such expressions with poetry to bring out the emotions of characters and also emotions of the audience. Yeah, thoughts or theme is the message we have talked about in this play, and the issues of goods, the issues of the two goods. Is it two goods or two characters has been conceptualized by Hegel to be the center of the play. So we have a minute, please. Yeah, the two goods, as we see in the model here, could refer to the conflict that emerges between the two. The conflict of the fact that one ought to be loyal to the society, one ought to be loyal to his or her family. These are all two good things. So it's unfortunate that these two good things become the center of conflict in the play, All right. My battery is dying. I don't have power around me. So if it does, we'll end it there. And then we'll continue next week to finish up. Yeah. So I'm sorry for that, though. So let me continue. So in Dear Blood, Penny had a reason to bring dignity to her family, and her dead brother in accordance with and her dead brother in accordance with the law of justice of law of nature. Assam had reason to defend the city against traitors and future traitors. Right. So leaders put in place laws to prevent crimes, such as that of Assam. Right. And families also try to protect their family interests and so on. So the two are all doing the right thing. That's why we said the goods have been conceptualized. The two are all doing the right thing. Right. So in such a situation where both parties are considered justified, the playwright highlight the need for consensus building and compromises, where people will prioritize divine laws and then do the right thing. Right. So if divine laws had been listened to by Boko and then the woman, we believe Assam would have saved his family from that tragedy. Assam would have saved his family from this tragedy. Right. Now that notwithstanding, in get that the reader has a lot of images to grapple with. So with the help of stage direction, we get to appreciate the movement and actions of characters so as to appreciate the performance. Right. At the scene of Penny and Jesus' death, there's a visual imagery based on the description given about how they died. So to a large extent, the visual adornment contribute to the purgation of emotions in the audience and so on. So you can watch a real tragedy and fail to have the feeling, fail to have or see emotions at stake. No, you either feel happy or you feel sad. In tragedy, there's pity and fear, and these are put forward strongly in the play. The last one we are talking about, and I will end to continue next week, has to do with the song compositions. So we talk of songs or music at the last aspect of tragedy, as discussed by Aristotle. And we have also said that the song or the chorus play a very important role in the play, as such as giving commentaries and so on. For instance, in Antigone, the chorus sang an ode in praise of Oedipus as the savior of Thebes. In Dear Blood, the element of music can be seen in the palace of Amukra as the praise singer eulogizes the king. This is typical of the Ghanaian setting, as kings are ushered into their palaces or gatherings with talking drums, appellations, oaths, and so on and so forth. So the songs are also very important in Dear Blood, very important in Dear Blood, and then they help us to get the Africanness of it. So if you are to talk about that which makes this play an adaptation and a qualified African text, I believe we can look at some of these elements we have mentioned in the book to do exactly that. Right. So we are left with a few things to talk about. And as I said, my phone is going off. So we'll continue next week and I'll finish off with getting the case. Any question up to this point, please? Any question? All right, no questions. Let's call it a day. We'll meet next week. So Monday and Tuesdays we'll meet at 6 a.m. to do post-fiction. Good morning.
Good morning, Prof. Thank you very much.
Wonderful.
Obi ankasa. Onkasa o ni abre.
If anyone with Prof slideshow, can you send it to our platform?